A veterinarian with a Druid heritage received a rescue station left by the old station master. In order to supply this group of foodies on Changbai Mountain, we had to find another way to start live streaming. But no one expected that the art style in this live broadcast room was not right from the beginning. Wen Wanwan. I am petite and cute, with a soft and cute voice. Fan. You can beat the Northeast tiger. Wen Wanwan. I am the cute kind. Fan. You can beat the Northeast tiger. Wen Wanwan. I have saved pandas, saved eagles, and saved leopards. Fan. You can drive the Wuling divine car with one hand, withstand 100 pounds of burlap bags on your shoulders, and hit the northeastern tiger hard. No CP plus protected animals plus live streaming, keywords of the novel. Live broadcast. Beating the Northeast tiger, is this called Little Loli? No pop-ups, live broadcast. Beat the Northeast tiger, is this called Little Loli? Download the complete set of TXT, live stream. Beat the Northeast tiger, is this called Little Loli? Latest chapter reading. Chapter 1. Shoulder resistance against a 100-pound burlap bag, critical strike against the Northeast tiger. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1. Shoulder resistance against a 100-pound burlap bag, critical strike against the Northeast tiger at the Changbai Mountain Wildlife Rescue Station. A cute little loli like a junior high school student is placing her camera and aiming it at her usual work warehouse. Glancing at the clarity of the live broadcast footage, Wen Wanwan muttered softly. I don't know if this thing can cheat me out of some money, and the unlucky old man doesn't know how to leave me some inheritance. I'll take my head to raise so many animals. Wen Wanwan is currently the webmaster of this rescue station, but there is also a lot of work to be done. Glancing at the live broadcast room without anyone again, I turned my head and walked into the warehouse. The live broadcast room was facing the entrance of the warehouse, and the cute little loli picked up a huge burlap bag from the freezer and placed it on the scale. Looking at the 75 kilograms on top, I nodded very satisfied. After putting the burlap bag back on his shoulder, he picked up his phone and hung it around his neck, walking towards the Wuling God car parked outside the door. No boasting, no black. So cute. So scary little loli. The Yangtze crocodile is beaten every day. 75 kilograms. Black ? Face, Lingwoyuo. It's fake, tell me it's fake. How on earth did such a big little girl carry it? Throwing the huge burlap bag into the trunk of the Wuling Shinche, Wen Wanwan kicked open the car door and sat directly in the driver's seat. Ru Meng was filled with sorrow and joy. Just arrived, such a lovely little loli must have cried for a long time when she fell to the ground, right? Don't boast, don't be black. Do you believe that just one kick can kick you directly from the human world to the 18th floor of hell? Dog head, Meizafe. Wow, what a lovely little loli. She can even drive. As someone stayed in the live broadcast room, the barrage gradually became lively. Wen Wanwan had no idea what kind of panic her daily work had caused to a group of people. Her strange power appeared under the tireless guidance of the old station master Lu. The old webmaster is the 32nd generation Druid, and with her, she naturally becomes the 33rd generation. This inheritance originated from shamans and has added many things to their development over the years. To put it simply, from Wen Wanwan's appearance, she appears to be a junior high school student, but the power within her body can squeeze juice into a broken wall machine for domestic violence men. If it were in the mountains and forests, the name of the Druid Beast King would make everyone know what despair is. The car drove all the way and quickly stopped at the foot of the mountain. Wen Wanwan kicked the car door and walked to the trunk to pick up a sack of meat. It seemed like I suddenly remembered that I had a live broadcast room and turned my head to look at the bracket hanging on my chest. The constantly scrolling barrage made Wen Wanwan suddenly stiffen a bit. I took over the rescue station for over a year and couldn't even find a colleague. I have long been accustomed to living alone. Entering the state of work, she had long forgotten that she still had a live broadcast room hanging up. Taking a deep breath and setting up the live broadcast room, Wen Wanwan forced out a smile. Good afternoon everyone, I am the host Wanwan and also the webmaster of Changbai Mountain Animal Rescue Station. Today, I mainly want to take everyone to see the little tiger. After selectively ignoring those punches of Xiaoluoli, Wen Wanwan answered two simple questions and walked towards the mountain. A burlap bag weighing 150 pounds on the shoulder, still walking up the mountain. Anyone who knows the truth in the live broadcast room spends their time in silence. Wen Wanwan spent over an hour and finally stood outside a mountain cave in the sunshine. Dog thing, come out and cook. A gentle voice fell, and a tiger roar suddenly came from within the cave. Subsequently, two large northeastern golden gradual layers walked out from inside. At this moment, the barrage in the entire live broadcast room completely quieted down, but a few seconds later, one after another quickly flashed through. The Yangtze alligator is beaten every day. Sleeping slot, is this the little tiger in her mouth? Scared JPG. Baiming has a C. Wild northeast tiger. Unbelievable. Sunlight Qingcheng. What are you waiting for? The anchor's small body may not be 3% full. At this moment, Wen Wanwan didn't have any air traffic control over the live broadcast room. He quickly poured the pork from the burlap onto the ground and took a photo of Jin Jianlayer, who had come up close. Xuanba, after this meal, I don't know when the next one will be. Let me figure out a way to put more rabbits here. One Jin gradually squatted down and nibbled on the pork, while the other was obviously a bit mischievous, constantly pawing at Wen Wanwan's pants legs. Let go, the old lady's new pants. Your claws. Do you not want them anymore? I'm so. After pulling a few times, the brand new work pants tore open a hole. Wen Wanwan clenched her fists, tightly hugged Jin Jianlayer's neck with her arms, and stepped backwards with her legs, causing the entire northeast tiger to be flipped over. Immediately after, she sat directly on the body of the Jin gradually layer, slapping and exhaling one after another. What's the number? What's the number? I can't even stack my old pants in the warehouse. Come on, talk, can't you grab it anymore? If you don't want your paws, just tell me and I'll help you. If you don't fight, you just don't have a long memory, do you? Xiaoluoli's violent beating of the northeast tiger is not only rare, but also full of visual impact. With the repeated sharing in the live broadcast room, it directly triggered the platform's traffic flow mechanism, and within a few minutes, it surpassed 1,000 people. After teaching the mischievous Jin gradually layer a lesson, Wen Wanwan slowly exhaled and sat down on the ground. Glancing at the phone in front of me, my whole body stiffened. These two northeast tigers were released by the provincial rescue station before, and according to the plan, they should have been separated. However, she left both in Changbai Mountain with the affinity of a Druid. This has led to a shortage of food, and Wen Wanwan has to bring some food to these two foodies every once in a while. Cats are very curious. Every time she changes into a new pair of pants, she gets caught and torn by this unlucky fat tiger no more than 3 times. Originally, she was the only one in this haunted place, so it doesn't matter if she gets a little irritable. But now it's live streaming. In front of thousands of people, there was a vicious act of violently beating the northeast tiger. Leaving aside everything else, at least today's live broadcast has ended. She may not have much to do with a biological partner like her in this lifetime. The Yangtze crocodile is beaten every day. Sleeping in the trough, can you do it again? I just didn't look carefully. Chengijiuqian. May I ask if the anchor is a descendant of Wusong? 7-step heartbroken date. Please provide a tutorial, I will buy it for any amount of money. Wen Wanwan took 2 deep breaths in succession, which barely calmed her awkward mood. Watching the barrage of constantly seeking tutorials in the live broadcast room, I quickly turned my head and aimed the camera at the northeastern tiger who was cooking next to me. The two northeast golden layers in front of us are commonly known as the northeast tiger, also known as the Siberian tiger. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. Family Siblings. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2 Family Siblings. It is the largest feline animal on Earth, with an average weight of 500 pounds for adult male Siberian tigers and about 340 pounds for female tigers. Overturning a car with a single slap is not a problem, but it is this kind of beast that, facing human hunting and environmental damage, has now sharply reduced the number of wild animals to less than 500. At this point, the barrage in the live broadcast room has become somewhat scarce. Watching the two big cats eating happily, the love and fear emanating from their bones can never be concealed. Wen Wanwan looked at the sparse barrage and was very satisfied with her attention diversion method. This group of people has finally shifted their attention from hitting the northeast tiger. Although it is uncertain whether it will be helpful for finding a boyfriend in the future, at least the current barrage looks much more comfortable. Watching many people questioning in the live broadcast room, Wen Wanwan patiently explained. When these two northeast tigers were over a year old, they came to Changbai Mountain. Since then, I have been feeding them several times a month, and I have become familiar with them. Moreover, as humans, when we slap and exhale, it is like scratching and itching for them. Of course, if you encounter the northeast tiger in the wild, it is recommended to call the rescue team first. I may not be able to survive, but at least I can have time to prepare a last word. Buy two. Don't worry, we won't go to the deep mountains and forests alone. Angry and beheading 10,000 people. I'm not stupid, the anchor. I know how much I weigh. Bamboo 18. I can probably have sex with it 3 or 7 times. I surrender in 3 seconds, and it eats 7% full. Watching the increasingly bizarre barrage, Wen Wanwan could also see the essence of this group of netizens' sand sculpture. She gave up good advice and sat down between two northeast tigers. Rubbing the slightly stiff hair on the big guy's body, his immature face suddenly filled with a smile. The healing scene made netizens across the screen feel the beauty from nature. The mischievous ghost on our left is called Naughty, and the quieter one is called Anan. Naughty is a boy who can't stay idle on weekdays. Many locals who come to the mountains to search for ginseng have seen it. Anan is a girl who is lazy and timid. She usually moves around nearby and usually hides when she smells someone's breath. I introduced two big guys to the audience in the live broadcast room, and when Wanwan watched as Anan, who was full, leaned directly against it. Anan turned her head and glanced at her, then revealed her soft belly to make Wen Wanwan more comfortable to lean on. The most annoying thing is that Anan kept rubbing her chin against Wen Wanwan's head, like a little kitten about to be touched. Without a smile. I cried, my cat didn't even let me touch its belly, but it actually leaked out on its own. Wen Renfeng. Friend, put yourself in the right position. You are a northeast tiger, why are you so unproductive? NVJPG. Hua do you said, away is dead, and I also want the big cat to rub against me. Gan Haya Juin. It's so cute. I don't even know if it's a crime to raise one. It is difficult not to like the scene where the elves of nature release kindness towards humans. Rows of gifts drifted up, and many passers-by silently nodded their attention as they entered. After causing a commotion and finishing the food in front of him, he licked his paws and looked towards Wen Wanwan with a slightly exploratory gaze. No, don't even think about it. Looking at a pair of tiger eyes, Wen Wanwan suddenly became alert. Although she is a mountain and forest hegemon, she has 800 cunning eyes. As long as she doesn't pay any attention, this guy can always do something unexpected. Now was obviously not the one who could be discouraged by language. With his huge physique, he walked step by step towards Wen Wanwan. Get out of here, no matter what you're thinking, you can't do it. No. That pair of malicious tiger eyes made Wen Wanwan feel her scalp tingling. At the critical moment, Anan was more reliable, slapping the noisy face directly. The entire northeast tiger was flipped over, revealing its fangs that put aside all the bad intentions of the commotion. Rubbing in Anne's big head, Wen Wanwan explained with a smile to the audience in the live broadcast room. People should often see lions showing affection, but they should rarely see tigers like this. In fact, among northeast tigers, larger male tigers tend to have a more gentle personality, while females are usually more irritable. And the male tiger's family status is getting lower and lower as the female tiger continues to rage. In fact, you can also see it when you go to the zoo, even if a male tiger sometimes wants to get close to a female tiger and accidentally gets beaten up. Wen Wanwan's science popularization is very serious, but at this time, the large audience in the live broadcast room is not as serious. After all, with the ability of contemporary netizens, it is normal to get off topic while chatting. Mu teach. Damn it, the anchor has revealed the truth, isn't this my family brother's position? Uncle Nanshan. Nonsense, we love our wives. Juxia. You're right upstairs, that's not fear at all, it's love for my wife. Glancing at the barrage in the live broadcast room, Wen Wanwan immediately rolled her eyes. Ah, yes, there's only one mouth left at the center of the nuclear explosion, it's still hard. The wild northeast tiger has a murderous nature, and these two big guys just lie on the ground to rest, but their occasional gaze at the camera is still full of intimidation. This live streaming experience is directly satisfying, far from being comparable to those animals in zoos. The gifts in the live broadcast room have never stopped, especially for new viewers who only feel the beauty from nature. I never expected that the little loli in front of me, who looked like a junior high school student, would not dare to fight back a northeast tiger not long ago. After playing with over 1,000 people in the live broadcast room and 2 northeast tigers for over 2 hours, Wen Wanwan finally stretched out and stood up. Alright, that's all for today's live broadcast. Tomorrow, I'll show you another group of kids. If you're interested, stay tuned and you'll receive a reminder to start broadcasting. Goodbye. After explaining briefly and thanking some gifts again, the live broadcast room immediately went black. Rubbing the big heads of 2 northeast tigers, Wen Wanwan also walked towards the foot of the mountain with great strides. Live streaming was indeed a waste of time, as she had not yet reached halfway when the sky completely darkened. If it's at the foot of the mountain, it's okay to say that with the last glimmer of dusk, one can still see the road clearly. But this is a deep mountain and old forest, and the shade of the trees does not give any light at all. Once the sky gets dark, it's like looking for mosquitoes in tight clothes. You can't even see them. Wen Wanwan silently sighed. After pondering for a moment, I pinched a spell with one hand and then sat down directly in a place. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. Walking Chicken. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3 Walking Chicken. A few minutes later, a yellow figure quickly landed in front of Wen Wanwan. It is one of the 5 immortals commonly referred to by Northeasterners. Huangxian, Weasel. Looking at the little guy in front of her, Wen Wanwan suddenly laughed. I can't see the road clearly, can you take me down the mountain? Squeak. The yellow little guy stood up and glanced at Wen Wanwan before quickly turning around to lead the way. This is a common technique in the Druid lineage, relying on the mountains to summon some little ones to help. But don't make this game too magical, most animals can't understand the deeper meaning. Leading the way is already the limit, even if it's a bit more complicated, they won't understand. Follow this yellow little guy all the way, avoiding some difficult paths, but in just over half an hour, successfully reached the foot of the mountain. Wen Wanwan flipped out a sealed chicken leg from her backpack, tore open the packaging, and gave it to the little one. Alright, go back quickly. Squeak. The little one bit on the chicken leg and let out a cry, then quickly disappeared into the forest. Wen Wanwan watched the last glimmer of light under the sunset and quickly climbed onto the willing divine vehicle, rushing back towards the rescue station. As soon as the car arrived at the door, I saw two children sitting on the ground holding a large cardboard box. Sister, sister. Upon hearing the call, Wen Wanwan quickly jumped out of the car. What's wrong? We don't know a strange bird either, but my sister has said that all strange birds have legal protection. Wen Wanwan went to school before to do science popularization for this group of children. Generally speaking, if any animals in need of assistance are encountered in that place, they will be sent to her. The last time these two children sent a magpie with injured wings, I don't know what strange little thing it was this time. Come on in, sit down and rest for a while. Wen Wanwan brought 2 bottles of cola to the 2 children, then found a cage and stuffed the box in before slowly opening it. At first glance, there was a bright red head, which was raised with disapproval in its eyes. This little thing is called a sparrow, thank you for saving it. No, no, it's all because my sister taught me well. Watching the 2 polite children, Wen Wanwan felt much more comfortable all over. I quickly checked the little guy and found that his wings were entangled by fishing nets, and the wound from the pressure made it unable to fly. The most commonly rescued birds at rescue stations are all kinds of birds. Many people see birds they don't know that can't fly, and they basically send them over. Wen Wanwan is also very experienced in this area. She quickly held down the little guy with her hands, picked out the fishing net cable with small tweezers, disinfected it with some medicine, and then locked it in a cage with a black cloth. I'll take you both back, it's already dark. It didn't take long to handle the little one, but she came back a bit late. At this point, let the 2 children go home on their own, and these 2 children may not be able to explain it clearly. Don't trouble sister, our house is not far away. Polite children are likable. Wen Wanwan patted the child's round head and directly picked up the car key. Let's go, otherwise you'll get beaten if your parents don't believe you when you go back. Unable to refuse Wen Wanwan's kindness, the 2 children could only express their gratitude again and followed Wen Wanwan onto the van. Sending the children home and explaining to their parents, it was already past 9 p.m. when Wen Wanwan rushed back to the rescue station. Rubbing his already hungry belly, he silently sighed. I crawled all the way to the kitchen and simply cooked a bowl of noodles, then sat on a chair and flipped through today's live streaming background. It has to be said that the charm of nature, combined with the majestic posture of the Northeast tiger, has earned her 1,300 fans as a new anchor for her first live broadcast. The gift income in the background is over 1,500 yuan. A day's live broadcast is enough to perform a surgery on a little guy. Looking at the dense private messages in the background, Wen Wanwan chattered about noodles and reopened her live broadcast room. The anchor you are following has started broadcasting. As the prompt was sent out, a large number of viewers rushed in quickly. The Yangtze crocodile is beaten every day. Throne. Beiming Yu Hai. Sofa. Without a smile. Front row. Looking at many IDs that she had seen during the day, Wen Wanwan swallowed her last bite of noodles and aimed her camera at the cage covered with black cloth, then got up and walked over. Today, a new little guy arrived at the rescue station, and I will take this opportunity to educate everyone on what to do when encountering animals in need of rescue in the wild. Opening the black cloth in a corner, the little guy inside was immediately displayed to the live broadcast room. This guy is called a sparrow, a bird of the sparrow family. You should be able to see from the side that this little guy's whole body, except for his wings and tail, is showing a rosy red color. Even the eyes were dark red, looking like a flame. Of course, if you encounter it in the wild, just take a look from a distance. Don't think about catching it. At present, although the sparrow is not an endangered species, it has also been included in the 3 have list. In other words, catching this little one means breaking the law. This little one's wings were injured and have now been fixed. If you encounter injured birds in the wild, be sure to contact the rescue station immediately and cover them with a cardboard box or black cloth to prevent them from tearing their wounds again due to fear. Although one wing of the little guy was wrapped, it didn't affect his walking at all. Druids are born with the ability to bring animals closer, and the little one jumps up to Wen Wanwan, constantly rubbing his head against the edge of the cage. Watching the movements of the little sparrow, Wen Wanwan also sighed and opened the cage door. "Come out, don't defecate casually." The little one flapped its wings and wanted to fly, but the medicine and thick gauze on it almost made it faint. At midnight. Ahahaha, is it okay to defecate casually? Raisquoba. The bird should be unable to hold its own feces. What kind of ghost is it suddenly looking forward to? A drizzle of misty rain sighed. I'm laughing to death. Indeed, the difference between a bird without wings and a ground chicken is not significant. After silently retracting his wings, the little one bounced and ran to Wen Wanwan, constantly rubbing his head against her palm. Famous educator Lu Shuren, who abandoned medicine and studied literature, once said that although sparrows are small, they have all 5 internal organs. These little guys can't express their kindness like cats and dogs, but they also act coquettishly and cute. Such behavior of rubbing your head against you is essentially acting spoiled. A little loli like a middle school student, carrying an injured red bird, fills the entire live broadcast room with warmth. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. Ugly Things with Unique Appearance. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4. Ugly Things with Unique Appearance. Charming Old Mother. Whispering, even a bird is more obedient than these 2 rebellious sons in my family. By 2 to by 2. Damn it, this crooked head killing really captures the young girl's heart of the old man. 7-step heartbroken date. To be honest, with a clear explanation from the anchor Xiaoluoli, it's over, I fell in love. A group of people in the live broadcast room faced a spoiled little guy with no resistance at all, which can be considered as the fall of the entire battlefield. Of course, there are always some people who are extremely skilled at breaking the atmosphere and making others think of some unpleasant memories. The Yangtze crocodile is beaten every day. Wait, have you forgotten that the little loli in front of you dared not fight back against a northeast tiger this afternoon? Sol 19. With the slap he used to hit the northeast tiger, he couldn't even knock off a wall buckle for a 1.9-meter tall man Wanjiji. Even a northeast tiger weighing over 500 pounds dare not move. The live broadcast room combined may not be enough for her to fight. With the appearance of a barrage, the art style of the entire live broadcast room instantly tilted in another direction. The new audience looked at Wen Wanwan with 3 parts of fear and 7 parts of disbelief as she smiled sweetly in the picture. If I hadn't witnessed it with my own eyes, who would have believed that such a small thing over a meter could hammer a northeast tiger? Watching the barrage in the live broadcast room, Wen Wanwan's face turned increasingly black. After taking a deep breath, a forced smile emerged. At present, in addition to the little sparrow that just arrived today, there is another small animal at the rescue station. Next, I will take everyone to take a look at that little thing and introduce it to you. As she spoke, Wen Wanwan had already taken steps towards another room. Famous medical expert Lu Renshu once said, "The best way to prevent oneself from dying is to divert everyone's attention." Wen Wanwan was very wise and used another little guy to shift her attention away from her violent beating of the northeast tiger. One hand pushed open the door, and upon entering, there was a bird flapping its wings on the shelf under the yellow light. This guy has a grape gray-brown color all over his body, a chestnut-brown color on his head, and a slender cluster-shaped feather crown on his head. A black cross-eye pattern runs from the base of the mouth to the back pillow, located on both sides of the feather crown, and is very prominent on the chestnut-brown head. Looking at this little guy, a large question mark quickly floated out of the live broadcast room. Most people's impression of birds is basically that of sparrows and swallows. When have you seen this kind of killing horse? Wen Wanwan looked at the little guy flying towards her and reached out a hand to catch it, while also popularizing science in the live broadcast room. This little guy is called the Taiping bird, also known as the liang or 12 yellow, and is a bird of the family Taiping bird in the class of birds. With a body length of 18 centimeters, a wingspan of 34.35 centimeters, a weight of 40.64 grams, and a lifespan of 13 years, it is a small songbird. Found in most regions of China during the winter and spring/autumn migration seasons, it belongs to the category of winter migratory birds and migratory birds. The sentence-by-sentence popularization of science, combined with the appearance of this killer, successfully diverted the attention of the live broadcast room. Zhu Shiba. My mom, this knowledge is already on par with the old professors in our school. Psychiatrist. Sleeping in bed, this ugly thing looks too unique, isn't it? Yon little devil. How did the anchor know that I just love ugly things and want to raise them? Looking forward to IPG, watching the barrage in the live broadcast room, Wen Wanwan breathed a sigh of relief. The Taiping bird belongs to the three animals, namely the list of beneficial or important terrestrial wildlife with economic and scientific research value under national protection. If you really want to raise it, go to the Animal Protection Bureau to handle the procedures. The process takes about a month, and you can get this ugly bird. Lanka Jianxin. Don't worry, I have a hard time supporting myself, let alone raising it. Natural non. For one bird a month, would anyone really be so idle? Qianli Xingyun. Ugly things are cute, but can this process be shorter? In fact, many protected animals can be kept, but the complicated procedures are enough to make anyone collapse. Wen Wanwan occupies the convenience of the rescue station, which allows for access to numerous protected animals. A little plant seed was dug out from a nearby cabinet and placed on the little one's plate. The whole person also sat on a chair with a camera in hand. Not all birds eat insects. For example, the Taiping bird feeds on plant-based foods such as fruits, seeds, and tender buds of plants such as Pinus tabuliformis, birch, rose, Lonicera japonica, Weimao, and rhamnus. This is also why many people like to keep Taiping nieo. The recipe is simple and there is no need to worry about preparing insects. And its call is very gentle and not harsh, making it very suitable as an ornamental bird. Wen Wanwan chatted for over 2 hours without realizing it, and it was already early morning. That's all for today's live broadcast. See you tomorrow, remember to follow me. Live streaming earns a lot of money, and for Wen Wanwan, one day's live streaming is already enough to feed 2 Northeast tigers several meals. The funding sources for the rescue station are actually divided into 2 parts, with the upper allocation being a part and the social donations also being a part. After handing over the inheritance and rescue station of the Druid to her, the old webmaster left. Without the connections of the old webmaster, Wen Wanwan naturally couldn't attract donations from any companies on her own. The current live broadcast is just her attempt, not hoping for great wealth and prosperity, but to some extent, it can improve the living environment of wild animals. If you are wealthy, you can also add a meal to many big guys. I tidied up the cage for the little one again, and Wen Wanwan yawned as she walked upstairs. Time is like Newton's coffin, always disappearing unconsciously. The next morning, Wen Wanwan had breakfast and then drove the Wuling Shenche with his live broadcast equipment to the foot of Changbai Mountain. Looking up at the mountain road in front of me, Wen Wanwan quickly started the live broadcast. Good morning, my friends. I'm the host Wanwan. Today, I'm going to take you to meet a group of little guys living in the Changbai Mountain area. As the live broadcast room opened, a large number of viewers rushed in quickly. Young master of the Taoist school. Your Majesty, it's only 7 o'clock in the morning now. Should I sleep or not when the live broadcast starts at this time? Qianshan bird eats absolutely. Sofa, come here in admiration. May I ask if you are the little loli who dares not fight back when fighting the northeast tiger? Dancing on the tip of the pen. Front row, what are you talking about? How cute the anchor is. Dog head, Meng, the girl who eats melons. What are you looking at? You're looking at the northeast tiger. Looking forward to it. Most of the live streaming rooms are old viewers from yesterday, but there are also many new IDs coming in. Glancing at the barrage in the live broadcast room, Wen Wanwan selectively ignored the dark history and walked towards the mountain. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. Get in the car. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5. Get in the car. Damn it, why did you forget it was still live streaming when you were playing? Warmth and Warmth know that fans are just teasing her, but now that the dark history has formed, rumors and gossip have spread. I can only hope that in future live broadcasts, this group of sand sculpture netizens can gradually forget about this matter. While chatting with the audience in the live broadcast room, Wen Wanwan's footsteps quickly stopped under a tree. Glancing casually at the tree, his eyes suddenly filled with surprise. In addition to wild animals, the most common medicinal herbs in Changbai Mountain are also various. Except for some protective medicinal herbs that are not allowed to be picked, most medicinal herbs can be taken away if found. For example, the tree in front of us has a tumor-like substance called birch tree antler. During the conversation, Wen Wanwan adjusted the live broadcast camera and grabbed the tree trunk with both hands, starting to climb the tree. Xiao Nan finds it difficult. Do you really want to climb? 3 squirrels. This is more than 5 meters by sight, don't you take some protective measures? A tree over 5 meters tall, even a strong man may not be able to climb it. But for Wen Wanwan, climbing trees is like a daily occurrence. Druids are the elves of nature, not only friendly to animals, but also to plants. Some medicinal herbs grow on trees over 10 meters high, and she has been trained by an old webmaster to climb trees since childhood. However, within 2 minutes, Wen Wanwan had climbed onto the top of the birch tree and pulled out a small knife from her backpack, slowly cutting it. I am not Xiaochen. The 3 characteristics of an excellent contemporary girlfriend. Being able to carry a burlap bag weighing over 100 pounds, being able to fight tigers, and being able to climb trees. Unable to hold on. I really can't understand what kind of life can crush such a sweet little loli like this. Crazy and wind. Follow the anchor quickly, there are not many girls who can climb trees these days. Dog head, when all the birch antler was in her hand, Wen Wanwan quickly slid down the straight trunk. Glancing at the live broadcast room, 80% of them were watching barrage comments such as haha and nyobi. Watch it, what I'm holding in my hand is birch tree velvet, also known as birch brown hole fungus, which is a medicinal fungus that grows on white birch trees. Birch antler will continuously absorb nutrients from birch trees, and after about 10.15 years, it will completely absorb the essence of birch trees, causing them to wither and die. Generally speaking, the diameter of birch antler is between 7.36 centimeters, with a hard surface, ranging from yellow-brown to black, and obvious uneven and cracked small pieces. Usually, herb pickers choose to pick birch antlers only after April has passed, because the quality of birch antlers in this season is not good and they cannot sell for much. Don't underestimate this thing, although it looks a bit ugly, its medicinal value is extremely high. At present, the clinical medicine has confirmed the 5 major effects of birch antler. Treatment of diabetes, prevention of hypertension, anti-aging, anti-inflammatory and sterilization can also improve the body immunity. Most people have extremely limited knowledge about this wild medicinal herb, and upon hearing Wen Wanwan's science popularization, a large question mark immediately drifted up. Looking at the question mark in the live broadcast room, Wen Wanwan shook the birch velvet in her hand. It can effectively eliminate free radicals in the body, protect cells, extend the number of cell divisions in passage, and enhance cell lifespan. Taking it in water for a long time can enhance lifespan, and for girls, it can delay the probability of wrinkles appearing on the skin. Crane-linked cloud. Sisters, I will rush first. Slow down and don't compete with me. Little grass in the sky. Treasure anchor, stop introducing yourself, get in the car. Little white rabbit. Can you tell me where the little yellow car is before you rush? I'm like a person who can't find a melon. Night night. Little Loli doesn't have a yellow car, doesn't this thing exist in a traditional Chinese medicine store? I just ordered 2 pounds, ha ha ha. Cute Lin San Gu. No, no one cares. When the anchor says these things, they almost blurt them out. The amount of knowledge is already terrifying, isn't it? Wen Wanwan wrapped the birch velvet in paper and stuffed it into his backpack, then continued walking towards the mountain with great strides. The little creature she is looking for today is a solitary creature. Without the perception function of a druid, it would be no more difficult to find it in the vast mountains than the chance of an 80-year-old lady chasing a celebrity. Following the mountains and forests, a sound suddenly came from a distance. Oh, big hammer. The rough and wild voice stunned Wen Wanwan for a moment, but then a hint of surprise filled her eyes. There are many people picking herbs in this area of Changbai Mountain, and the sound just now was made by those who came into the mountain to pick herbs. The stick hammer in their mouths refers to ginseng, but it's not wild mountain ginseng but also forest ginseng. I'll explain it to everyone later. Wen Wanwan had already quickened her pace as she spoke, rushing towards the direction of the sound. Desolate starry sky. Heaven, ginseng, how much does it cost? Envy, the night wind is as cold as ice. I seem to have heard of the herb pickers over there. They should be called mountain runners locally, right? Yay. What ginseng, can anyone explain to me who just came in? Black question mark face, the mountains and forests are relatively quiet, and the sound can naturally be heard far away. In addition, the mountain road is difficult to walk, even though Wen Wanwan has excellent physical fitness, it took more than 10 minutes to see the figure. After adjusting the live streaming blurring to ensure that the face wouldn't leak out, Wen Wanwan walked up with great strides. It's Uncle Lin. I heard you say there's a hammer over there. Upon hearing the sound coming from behind, the man squatting on the ground turned his head and shuddered as he looked at the little Lolita. Then he quickly squeezed out a smile and said, "It's late at night. I just found a big hammer with 5 leaves, digging it." Upon hearing the answer, Wen Wanwan quickly approached with a camera. A herb picker was carefully cleaning the soil with a small brush, leaving some traces of ginseng buried deep. Wen Wanwan glanced at the barrage in the live broadcast room and patiently explained. Forest ginseng is a variety artificially cultivated many years ago, with similar medicinal properties to wild mountain ginseng, but with much lower environmental requirements. There used to be many planting bases on this side of Changbai Mountain, but later many were abandoned. Birds, combined with artificial sowing, have spread these seeds throughout this mountain range. This type of ginseng grows up in a pure wild environment, and its efficacy is not much weaker than ginseng. Its natural value is also extremely high. And what Lin Shugang just said about the 5 leaves refers to the fact that the ginseng under the forest is more than 11 years old, and the specific year needs to be dug out before it can be determined. End of this chapter. Chapter 6. Strive to lower the protection level. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6. Strive to lower the protection level. Wen Wanwan's science popularization is very serious, after all, this can also be considered her major. However, the focus of the live broadcast room has always been on getting rich, and not many people have listened attentively. Glancing at the barrage discussing the price, Wen Wanwan sighed and then wiped her eyelids with one hand. Looking at the ginseng again, 13 light green dashed lines surrounded the ground, gradually dissipating with continuous excavation. 13 years can be considered a very good harvest for these herb pickers. In fact, if Wen Wanwan had nothing to do, she would also go to Changbai Mountain to look for medicinal herbs. After all, some medicinal herbs can be used with animals to save lives. Just like this birch tree antler, combined with some other medicinal herbs, can be used to create a pill that enhances the breathing of animal cubs. This type of pill is usually used for animals who have difficulty breathing due to a cold. In emergency situations, it can even help many animals regain their lives. After watching the live broadcast with the audience for a while to dig ginseng, Wen Wanwan continued to climb towards the mountain. Although it is already spring now, for the area of Changbai Mountain, there may still be a hint of greenery below, but the more you go up, the more white it becomes. When Wen Wanwan crawled out of a thicket again, there was no greenery around her and snow was everywhere. Sakurai Wisdom Tree. March, coordinates Pengcheng, body surface temperature 23. Bobo Mouse. March, coordinates Yongcheng, body surface temperature is 20. The least obedient. In March, the coordinates are foggy, and the body surface temperature is 17. A series of bullet comments flashed through, mostly from southern friends. Wen Wanwan rubbed her hands and patiently explained to the audience in the live broadcast room. The warming up time in the north is already later than in the south, and the time in the northeast is also slightly delayed towards the back. Due to its altitude, the snow in Changbai Mountain will not completely melt until at least May. Simply explained, Wen Wanwan's footsteps also stopped in a sparsely vegetated forest. This forest is where we're coming from, and the little guy we're looking for lives here. During the conversation, Wen Wanwan's footsteps had already entered the forest. After a while of shaking, the camera quickly aimed at a string of footprints on the snow. Let me give you a hint. This creature is not very large in size and prefers to live alone. In addition, the footprints on the ground are unknown. Can you guess what it is? So far, Wen Wanwan has not explained to the audience in the live broadcast what animal they are looking for today, but with these clues, those who have studied high school geography still have a good chance of guessing. Don't make noise and disturb your hearing. Located in Changbai Mountain, with a temperate continental mountain climate, there are a lot of small animals. Southeast University's hardworking lecturer. Judging from the footprints on the ground, it should be a member of the mink family, right? Gu Nanfeng. If it were a member of the ferret family, the range would be much smaller. Based on their solitary personality and snowy living conditions, they should be ferrets. The audience of the live broadcast is diverse, and you can never imagine whether the other side of the screen is a murderer or a foot-picking man. After this analysis, at least a rough range has been locked in. Wen Wanwan watched the barrage for a while, and her gaze also shifted to a little guy on a distant tree trunk. The camera focused twice and quickly locked onto this little thing. I guess it's actually very close, but there's a slight difference in color. What we're looking for this time is it? The sable. Under the camera, the little brown and black guy suddenly appeared throughout the entire live broadcast room. Wild ferrets have a brownish-black or brown body, slightly mixed with white needle hair, and a light grayish-brown head. The ear margin is dirty white, with yellow or yellow-white throat spots. The chin is covered with orange-brown fur, and the chest has brown fur. The abdomen is pale in color. Generally speaking, adult ferrets have a body length of about 40 centimeters, a weight of about 1 kilogram, a tail length of 12 centimeters, and a lifespan of about 8.15 years. Both front and rear limbs have 5 toes and a flesh pad. The curved claws have semi-stretchable and very sharp features. The eyes are large and lively, and the tail is thick and fluffy, accounting for about 30% of the body length. The fluffy tail hair makes the hand feel incredibly comfortable when rubbed. During the conversation, Wen Wanwan had already approached this little sable, and the unique aura of the Druid made the little one instantly let go of his guard. Wen Wanwan effortlessly held the little thing in her arms and showcased its soft fur to the audience in the live broadcast room. This account has been cancelled. Wow, it's so cute, I really want to raise one. I envy the lemon bread tree. Isn't it a sable? Why is it brown? Desolate starry sky. It's deeply ingrained in my heart, there's nothing for sale, I also want to raise it. Wen Wanwan glanced at the barrage in the live broadcast room, organized some language, and then began to explain. The purple ferret is an animal belonging to the ferret family and the ferret genus. It is well known in the Zhou and Lu dynasties that ferrets all have a foul odor gland, which can emit a strong odor. Don't mention raising it, even if you get close to this little guy, he can make you faint. And let's not think about it. It is only found in northeast China and is known as the three treasures of northeast China, along with ginseng and deer antler. 50 years ago, sable was still very common in the entire northeast region. Although precious, it was not as precious as it is now. Since someone discovered that the fur of sable is extremely suitable for making coats, the number of poachers has rapidly increased. That is to say, during that period, many people loved to buy a mink coat, which not only kept them warm but also was of great value. It wasn't until the improvement of protection laws in recent years that poaching disappeared, but all these years of hunting and killing have been fatal to this group of little ones. The protection level has changed from the original 3 animals to national first-level protected animals. Wen Wanwan's words were heavy, and at least the audience in the live broadcast felt a slight sense of guilt as they looked at the coquettish ferret in front of them. Wen Wanwan didn't plan to talk much about this topic anymore. After flipping through his backpack for a while, he quickly took out a sealed chicken leg. I placed the little one on the snow, tore open the packaging of the chicken legs, and delivered it to it in front of me. Watching the little ferret quietly nibble, Wen Wanwan also turned her head to look at the barrage in the live broadcast room. Yay! Anchor, work hard and strive to lower the protection level, so that I can raise one. White coffee table. Anchor, come on, we believe you, protection level is definitely not a problem. Psychiatric patient. Look, here's another one. Wen Wanwan looked at the barrage and also followed the direction of the camera towards the front. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. 3-section wooden stove. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7 3-section wooden stove. A purple ferret with a rat-like aura was crouching on a tree, carefully watching the little one eating on the ground. The pink little tongue occasionally extends out to lick, making the entire live broadcast room emit pink bubbles. Little guy, come over here, sister, there's still something left. Upon hearing the Druid's call, the little sable quickly jumped down from the tree and pounced towards Wen Wanwan. Reaching out to catch the little thing, he then took out a chicken leg from his backpack and handed it over again. The sable is a solitary creature, and it is rare to see 2 individuals appearing together. These little things only gather together during the mating season in June every year to have a grand party. I briefly explained to the audience in the live broadcast room that Wen Wanwan took out a small comb from her backpack and tidied up the hair on the 2 little guys. With the contact between the comb and the fur, the little one who was cooking suddenly trembled, and the whole ferret was about to fly comfortably. Ji, with a disdainful expression on his face, he said, is it me or this little guy who's not right? Why does this voice sound so wrong? Boltzmann. Oh, it knows so well. I really don't want to screw it up. Maybe I've been single for a long time, and even looking at a mink makes me look pretty. The stickiness of Wen Wanwan's live broadcast room is very high now. After all, this kind of nature combined with adorable wild animals will attract both men and women. Time is like Su Fugue's family property, always disappearing unnoticed. In the blink of an eye, the sunlight was already shining directly on the earth. As meal was approaching, Wen Wanwan and the audience from the live broadcast room walked along the forest to a riverbank. Previously, there were only some crayfish and river fish in this river, but later, along with a few harvesters, more than 30 pounds of fish fairy were brought up and thrown into it. If we can catch it, we'll eat fish at noon. If we can't catch it, we'll dig a small canal to see if we can catch some river fish. As she spoke, Wen Wanwan had already assembled the fishing equipment and flipped out a glass jar from her backpack. With a gentle pinch of the finger, a huge earthworm appeared in the hand. The audience in the live broadcast room became even more excited when facing Wen Wanwan's actions. Xiao Yaya. I can drive a Wuling divine car, fight tigers in the mountains, and also enjoy fishing. What kind of fairy girlfriend is this? Xiao Chao name. Anchor, may I ask if you can drive a tractor? If you learn this, then you are simply the dream of all men. Jiangdong Xiaobai. What are you talking about? My wife is so ordinary that you can refer to her. The Yangtze crocodile is beaten every day. So, before you said this, you didn't consider whether she could withstand a slap. Originally a live broadcast room where wives were called in turns, the barrage quieted down a bit with the comments of the Yangtze alligator. Wen Wanwan took 2 deep breaths in succession and showed a particularly sweet smile towards the live broadcast room. Reminder. User Yangtze Crocodile has been banned from speaking by the anchor for 10 minutes. Please speak in a civilized manner. As the red prompt drifted through the live broadcast room, the barrage was neat and uniform. Having suffered losses in the sorghum field. Wife. Potatoes fall in love with potatoes. Wife. Mo ran ching. Wife. Looking at the clear barrage, Wen Wanwan's face suddenly showed a satisfied smile. Is that right? No fan would mock their own anchor every day. Just as Wen Wanwan gazed at the group of sand sculptures in the live broadcast room, looking for anyone who dared to reveal their dark history, the fish floating on the water sank in an instant. Wen Wanwan quickly lifted the fishing rod, and a huge force instantly came from her arm. Feeling the strength of the fish struggling in the water, Wen Wanwan instantly entered a state and began to slide along the riverbank. For her, who is full of strange powers, although this fish struggles with great strength, it is not difficult to pull it up. But the trouble is that the fishing rod she bought is not a good thing at all. Once the force is too strong and the fish doesn't wait, the fishing rod will break first. There were still many anglers in the live broadcast room, and at this moment, they began to get excited as they looked at the situation in front of them. Never Air Force. Keep going, don't let it go to the left, there are many stones over there. Chin Ting. Collect it, it's not tiring to fish like this. People are exhausted first. Strong Mutual Space Probe. I'm so anxious, I want to reach in and help. Under the concern of nearly 2,000 viewers in the live broadcast room, Wen Wanwan spent more than 20 minutes finally pulling the fish to the shore. Although it may not be as big as the live broadcast room imagined, the weight of nearly 4 pounds is not considered small. Wen Wanwan looked at the slightly cracked fishing rod and silently sighed. After putting away his equipment, he pulled out a field knife from his backpack and twisted it over the camera. The following scene is not suitable for children. I will show it to everyone after I have handled it. Wandering in this old forest all year round, Wen Wanwan has long been unaware of how many fish he has dealt with. The military knife flew up and down, and for 5 minutes, the whole fish was cleaned up by the river. After cleaning the grass carp again, Wen Wanwan returned to the live broadcast room. Today at noon, we will have this grass carp and also introduce the method of building an outdoor stove. During the conversation, the grass carp had already been pierced by a straight stick and inserted into the ground. Wen Wanwan searched for a section of dead wood, exerted a slight force on her arm, and cut it into 3 sections with a knife. Today, we will introduce the 3-section wooden stove, which is also the simplest type of outdoor stove. 3 roughly sized wooden stakes will be arranged in a triangular shape, compacted with soil and leaving enough space in the middle for ventilation. Inside, some branches and hay are placed for easy ignition. While talking and doing, in just a few minutes, a field stove had already been built. Later, Wen Wanwan placed a slate on a triangular withered tree and took out a lighter to light it. The 3-section wooden stove has high heat and can cook food faster, but it has a clear plan for the usage location, usually located by the river, which is a convenient place for extinguishing. If you enter the forest, generally speaking, smokeless stoves and buried stoves would be better. As she spoke, Wen Wanwan had already split the entire fish vertically, leaving only a piece of flesh and muscles on her back. Then he simply sprinkled some ingredients and placed them on the slate. As time passed by, the aroma of meat gradually dissipated by the river. After being busy for over an hour, Master Wen finally extinguished the flames and started eating lunch. The fish was fried on the slate with a sizzling and oily flavor, accompanied by a strong woodwood fragrance, and was sent into the mouth by Wen Wanwan. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. Emergency Situations. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8 Emergency Situations. Yu Wishing. It's really outrageous. Why does someone in the deep mountains and forests eat better than me in a first-tier city? I'm Lao Hu. I'm numb. I'm so busy at noon, and now I only have a bucket of instant noodles in my hand. Crying, don't forget the past. This grilled fish looks very fragrant. Can the anchor give me a taste of it? Bloody mouthful, in this place that can be described as a primitive jungle, the temptation of one bite after another of grilled fish immediately ignites resentment in the live broadcast room. Wen Wanwan was enjoying a delicious meal when the distant trees suddenly shook in waves. Subsequently, the sound of an open tank echoed through the entire jungle. Wen Wanwan stared at the distant commotion, holding the grilled fish in her hand for a moment, but then accelerated the speed of cooking. Drinking to 3 people. Earthquake. Volcano eruption. Run quickly. Scared, riding a pig to conquer the world. Sigh, this commotion seems quite significant. Anchor, don't just focus on cooking, run. Catch in a hurry, rain's imprint. It seems like something is running towards this direction, right? When Wanwan looked at the grilled fish that had already eliminated most of it in her hand and quickly chewed it twice before explaining it to the audience in the live broadcast room. Don't worry, it's an old friend of mine. He probably just woke up from hibernation and came to find me after smelling my scent. The earth-shattering sound in the forest lasted for 5 minutes, and a large black bear quickly appeared in the live broadcast room. When Wanwan took a glance and ate half of the grilled fish. She silently sighed and held onto it, constantly retracting towards the back. The black bear walked with great strides to Wen Wanwan's face, sat down and spread out its paws. After completing the entire set of actions, it's called a logical and vigorous one. The grilled fish must be hard to hide. This guy won't come over unless he smells the smell. A chestnut exploded and hit the black bear's head, then stuffed the grilled fish into the bear's paw. Eat and eat, I've grown up from snacks, ghosts can support you. The black bear touched its big head, then grabbed the grilled fish and quickly stuffed it into its mouth. Momo Jing. Do you call this an old friend? Ji Ling Ma, it seems that the combat power of this thing can compete with that of a tiger, right? Observing star. Aren't the anchors performing a fierce attack on the northeast black bear? After all, it is an existence on par with the northeast tiger. Dog head, half a fish is definitely not enough for a black bear to eat. To be more precise, this thing is like filling a gap in one's teeth. However, after all, the taste is different from that of raw fish, which makes this big black lump very satisfying. The big black lump jumped directly into the river to fill its stomach. Watching it catch fish in the water, Wen Wanwan leaned against a stone and gave the audience in the live broadcast room some knowledge. I don't need to go into too much detail about black bears. I think many people know that they have exceptional combat power. However, it should be emphasized here that northeast black bears usually weigh around 400 pounds, have extremely poor eyesight, and do not distinguish between humans and animals at a distance of 3 meters. But hearing and smell are sensitive, and searching for food relies on the nose. It's useless to pretend to be dead when encountering this guy in the wild. It's an omnivorous animal, and carrion can actually be eaten, especially during this season. Black bears have just woken up from hibernation and will not let go of any food they can supplement. How can I eat without gaining weight? Dog marketing account, he even deceives me with this life-saving thing. Xiao Ming, who was browsing the game, said, "Where did it come from?" and pretend to be dead to deceive me. If I really encounter this, I'm afraid I won't even have a chance to give a negative review. Returning Soul's bamboo light. I noticed it alone. Is the relationship between the anchor and it really good? Wen Wanwan watched the chaotic barrage and picked out a few questions to answer. I've known this guy for 5 years, so naturally he won't attack me, but it's not recommended for ordinary people to try to approach me like I do. The first time I met it was on a rainy day. It was not yet of age and broke one of its legs. It was taken to the rescue station by the forest ranger. I don't know why, but this guy has been at the rescue station for 2 months and has been interested in grilled fish. He can't get tired of it no matter how he eats it. Even now, some medicinal gatherers can attract fish by grilling them in this area. Shi Sei Ji Kong. I'm so envious that I feel like I've eaten a whole load of lemons. I also want to stick stickers with Big Bear. Nan Huai. May I ask if the rescue station still recruits people, how much is the salary, and if it's possible to hire Northeastern Gene gradually? Pig, Lou. Veterinary professionals tell you that you can see it here on the host. Interacting with animals is far from as beautiful as you imagine. When Wanwan was chatting with the live broadcast room, and the black bear that went into the water caught several big fish and threw them onto the shore one after another. The big guy shook the water on his body, found a comfortable position to sit and started eating. When Wanwan also leaned over and rubbed the big guy's ears. In fact, the black bear is still very cute. Whether it's the big ears like a fan, or the V-shaped white hair on the chest, it makes this guy look silly. And this guy's personality is not as bad as most people imagine. If you have time, you can go to the zoo to see how the keepers get along with them. When Wanwan may not have noticed that her live broadcast has already attracted the vast majority of viewers. People who accidentally come to the live broadcast room will not be stingy with some small gifts even after watching for a while. The pure wilderness environment, coupled with these animals being like children in front of Wen Wanwan, just a few streets away from those wild survival anchors. Although the number of people in the live broadcast room is only slightly over 2,000 now, the number is indeed showing an increasing trend. Just as I was about to thank a wave of gifts, the phone rang from inside my backpack. Hello. Excuse me, is this a rescue station? Yes, may I ask if there are any animals that need to be rescued? It's like this, I'm a mountain runner from Nanfeng village. Today, when we entered the mountain, we found a silly roe deer with an injured abdomen. Unfortunately, it ran away when it saw us. An explanation also made Wen Wanwan's face serious. Where are you entering the mountain? The old forest to the north of the third peak. Time. I just discovered it and called you immediately. I know now. If I find it, I hope it won't be alarmed. I will rush over as soon as possible. Okay. When Wanwan hung up the phone and quickly adjusted her backpack. There has been an emergency situation, and I need to climb over this mountain from here. In the upcoming live broadcast, I will reduce my speaking frequency and try to conserve my energy. I hope everyone understands. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. Rescue the Silly Deer. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9. Rescue the Silly Deer. After briefly explaining to the audience in the live broadcast room, when Wanwan rubbed the big ears of the black bear and quickly began to shuttle through the old forest. The humility of the humble. Stay up late, I believe you can do it. Lemon mint candy. Come on, I believe that roe deer will hold on until you rush over. The Yangtze crocodile is beaten every day. Come on, little one's life is more important than ours. The barrage of cheering in the live broadcast room quickly flashed, but Wen Wanwan didn't have time to continue following the barrage at this time. Running in the old forest is not that simple. The mountain roads are rugged and uneven, with various shrubs in a disorderly manner. Even the herb pickers who have been wandering in Changbai Mountain for years need to be cautious here, but Wen Wanwan started running wildly in this place with her strong physical fitness. Any abdominal injury in an animal is not a small problem, as infection, blood loss, or foreign objects can all be fatal. According to the gatherer, when they discovered the roe deer, it was still bleeding, indicating that it had just been injured. At this time, rescuing is the easiest way to recover. If you drag it on, who knows if this foolish thing running away will continue to expand its wounds. Having advanced for a full 50 minutes, even Wen Wanwan, who had excellent physical strength, was still wearing coarse clothes at this moment. However, after crossing this mountain, she also arrived at the position mentioned by the herb collector. Looking at the forest in front of her, Wen Wanwan supported the tree with one hand, closed her eyes, and began to use the communication skills from the Druid inheritance. However, for the live broadcast room, a group of people looked at Wen Wanwan, who was already tired and unstable, full of heartache. The gentle breeze lingers. Take a rest tonight, the roe deer will hold on until you rush over. East Village head flower. Take a break and drink some water. Animals have strong vitality, not short of these few minutes. Heart-flowing Rui. Don't run, let's take the rest of the way. It's really late and no one will blame you. On the left, that bleeding idiot is on the left. Very serious, it was falling from a very high stone. In my place, it's lying at my doorstep. This kind of great communication technique is quite mentally demanding, establishing a channel across an extremely long distance to express one's demands to a group of young people in the mountains and forests. Even a few seconds made Wen Wanwan feel dizzy. However, for the current situation, this is also the best way. Only squirrels and birds scattered throughout the mountains and forests can discover this foolish roe deer. Knowing the specific location, Wen Wanwan adjusted her breathing and rushed forward again. After a total of 1 hour and 30.5 minutes, Wen Wanwan finally arrived at a small stream. The bloodstains on the ground extended all the way to the bottom of a tree, and a weak and foolish roe deer was constantly licking its stomach with its tongue, but could not stop the blood from flowing out. Distribution. So serious, can this really be saved? Crying, red dust tua shazui. We finally arrived, we must hold on. Yi Nian Tianji. Anchor, come on, Roe Z, come on, it will get better. The number of people in the live broadcast room will rapidly increase when silly deer appears, but no one is paying attention to this matter at this time. Everyone's attention is focused on this life in front of them. When Wen Wanwan saw the bleeding wound, and although she was still worried, she breathed a sigh of relief. In time. Quickly untied his huge backpack, flipped out a medicine box, and crouched beside this big guy. Don't be afraid, I'll be fine once I come. Silly deer felt the aura of the Druid and forcefully licked Wen Wanwan's palm with his weak body. Take a nap, just wake up and you'll be fine. Wen Wanwan stuffed a pill directly into its mouth and then put on gloves to examine its wound. Based on my communication skills and my own judgment, I can roughly analyze what has happened. It seems that the situation is not very serious, and Wen Wanwan finally has time to explain to the audience in the live broadcast room. Now this season is the time for roe deer to change their horns, and the new horns will touch the old ones, making the roe deer feel itchy on their heads. Usually, at this time, they would find thicker tree trunks to rub against and let their horns fall off. This guy probably stumbled while rubbing against a tree and fell onto a sharp stone, making a cut. Wen Wanwan briefly explained, and then watched as the silly deer, who was already drowsy, quickly began to treat its wound. The pill I just fed is something from the Druid inheritance of traditional Chinese medicine, which can help animals fall asleep and enhance the hematopoietic function of the heart. Disinfectant alcohol was directly poured onto the wound, and Wen Wanwan took out some small stones bit by bit from the wound with small tweezers. Only by ensuring that there are no foreign objects in the wound can it be sutured, and then it can be wrapped with medicine and prepared to be taken down the mountain to rest at the rescue station. After squatting on the ground and busy for 2 hours, watching the gauze perfectly tied in a bow, the entire audience in the live broadcast room finally breathed a sigh of relief. Wen Wanwan rubbed her numb legs and sat down on the ground, looking towards the live broadcast room she had overlooked for a long time. User Yangtze Crocodile was beaten every day and sent out a carnival in the live broadcast room, leaving a message. Great. User Judge Zhong delivered a carnival in the live broadcast room, leaving a message. Thank you, the host, for repaying humanity's sins. User Aoki sent out a carnival in the live broadcast room and left a message. Damn it, I, a big man from Shandong, actually cried. Thank you very much, thank you all for the gifts. There's no need to spend so much money. As the station manager of the rescue station, it's impossible for me to watch animals get injured and not take care of them. Wen Wanwan originally thought that she could earn over 1,000 yuan a day by opening a live broadcast, which was already very good enough to alleviate the awkward situation of the rescue station now. But watching today's gift rain, Wen Wanwan realized that she seemed to have a strong misunderstanding of this audience. A carnival costs a lot of small money. More than 10 of them have been floating out in this moment, and the other small gifts have been coming one after another. Roughly estimated, today's live broadcast will cost at least tens of thousands of yuan. This is tens of thousands of yuan. In the past month, the donation received by the rescue station was not as much. With this little money, the old operating room can also be renovated, and many drugs that were previously reluctant to buy can also be bought back. After chatting with the audience in the live broadcast room for a while, the silly deer who had slept for a while also woke up leisurely. Wen Wanwan looked at the weak gaze of this guy and rubbed its big head with heartache. I have also rested quite well, so it's time to take this guy back. When we reach the rescue station, we will introduce to you what it means to be a foolish deer with incomplete brain development and completely underdeveloped cerebellum. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. Left and Right Twisting. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10. Left and Right Twisting. Although the little one is now able to move on his own, he is still afraid that the wound will burst open. Wen Wanwan picked up her phone and dialed a number. Hey, Xiaoluoli, what's up? Uncle, look who's on the mountain, help me resist a foolish deer and go back. Okay, I'll go ask you, where is the location? The forest to the north of the third peak, near the old Li two-toed ditch. Okay, I'll have the young men contact you. Hanging up the phone, Wen Wanwan quickly broke several thick branches and tied the little guy up. Saving animals is not a one-time occurrence, and these villages at the foot of Changbai Mountain have been harassed by her. After such a long time, I have already become friends with this group of people. The herb pickers rely on the mountain to eat, and they already like the little ones in the mountains. The rescue station saved their lives, and naturally earned the respect of these simple men. After waiting for more than 10 minutes, 2 muscular northeast men with a height of 1.9 meters walked over from a distance. Here. Wen Wanwan jumped up from the ground and forcefully made her head appear in their sight in another way. Wan Jiji. Ahahaha, without comparison, there is no harm. So, Wanwan is really such a small one. Soul 19. Not only young, but also a wealthy woman. She had an airport at a young age. Peanut Su bait. Didn't anyone notice these 2 little brothers being tall and strong? Oh my God, what a mess. The whole place is covered in blood. No, if it weren't for you, I reckon anyone would have been tickled if they hadn't seen it. When Wanwan listened to the strong northeastern accent and forcefully suppressed her desire to change her accent. Let's go together, just drop off the mountain. My car is parked at the foot of the mountain. Okay. 2 men quickly used a thick stick to pass through the rope tied by Wen Wanwan, and lifted the silly roe deer one by one towards the foot of the mountain. Wen Wanwan followed behind, paying attention to the situation of silly deer and chatting with the audience in the live broadcast room. The rescue station is indeed short of people, otherwise I wouldn't have asked the people in the village to help. Recruiting people is not as easy as that. The area here in Changbai Mountain is already small, and it's difficult to pay salaries now. How many people are willing to work here? Veterinarians, don't even think about it. I can only give veterinarians a maximum of 4,000 yuan, and a pet hospital costs at least 10,000 yuan. How do you choose? Wen Wanwan's explanation also made the audience in the live broadcast room aware of the current difficulties of the rescue station. There is not enough money and manpower. If it weren't for Wen Wanwan's continued support, there might not really be a rescue station here in Changbai Mountain. Jiao Tailang. It feels difficult to listen to, I can only give some gifts to show my gratitude. The cute rabbit chasing geese. Wait for me 2 years later, and I will go to Changbai Mountain to find you after graduation. I also want to protect animals. Where is the South China tiger? Evening, do you think I can do it? If I can have some food, I can go to work. The 2 of them sent the foolish roe deer to the foot of the mountain, and then went into the forest to continue their medicinal work. Wen Wanwan rubbed the little one's ears and placed it inside the wooling god car with the seat removed. I'm leaving. Don't be distracted while driving, be honest. The silly deer licked Wen Wanwan's hand with its tongue and then leaned quietly against the car window. Wen Wanwan looked at this guy's condition and relaxed a lot. She quickly started the car and rushed towards the rescue station. The sky gradually darkened, and the wooling divine vehicle stopped at the entrance of the rescue station. Wen Wanwan glanced at the phone with 5% remaining battery and sighed. Let's turn off the live broadcast for a while. I'll charge my phone and also settle this guy down. I'll pack up later and continue broadcasting to everyone. Monday. Let's have a late night break, I'm already tired enough today. Chong Fan. Eat more in the evening, let's meet soon. Northwest Old Man, see you tonight, remember to eat. After saying goodbye to the live broadcast room, Wen Wanwan quickly turned off the screen, rubbed her hands, and lifted the huge silly deer from the car door. Walking on flat ground and going downhill are 2 different concepts. When going downhill, Wen Wanwan may not be able to handle this big guy on her own. But when we get to our doorstep, we just need to fight back and care so much. Along the way, the foolish deer was sent to an empty room, and Wen Wanwan sat on the ground to rest. The amount of exercise today is a bit excessive, just 1 afternoon is worth the exercise of the past week. Looking at the limp and foolish roe deer, Wen Wanwan once again took out a pill from the drawer and stuffed it into its mouth. After taking the medicine, I'll go find some vegetables to feed you later. Watching it take the pill, Wen Wanwan charged her live streaming phone and entered the kitchen. The best way to replenish energy is to eat, as eating too much naturally brings it back. Moreover, the Druid's body has solidified, and even if she were a big fish, she would definitely not gain weight. When the live broadcast room reopened, Wen Wanwan was sitting at the dining table with a large plate of fried pork in front of her. Good evening everyone. The Yangtze crocodile is beaten every day. Good evening, throne. Oh my, I'll be obedient. Sofa, is it really good to eat like this at night? The pillow and mat are slightly cool. Front row, do you want this? I'm trying to lose weight. Wen Wanwan glanced at the barrage in the live broadcast room and took a bite of the fried pork before speaking up. This silly roe deer is no longer in any life-threatening condition, but it has to stand still for rescue until its stomach wound heals. This guy can't eat too much now, so I just gave him some water and cabbage. A little loli was nibbling on the pot of pork, while a weak silly roe deer was struggling to bite on the big cabbage. Even those who have already eaten dinner feel a sense of hunger emanating from their bodies when they see this scene. Roast. Why does it eat with different mouths? Shenhai Yuzang. Ahahaha, isn't this the crooked mouth god of war? Meng, the girl who eats melons. You're laughing silly. Eating with your mouth twitching from side to side is also so fun. When Wanwan quickly finished her dinner and after burping heavily, she began introducing the silly roe deer to the audience in the live broadcast room. The roe deer is a species of animal in the deer family, with a body length of about 1.2 meters and a weight of about 30 kilograms. It has a slender neck, large eyes, and large ears. Because there are no fangs, when eating, people usually rely on the friction between their upper and lower teeth to grind the food. In fact, this guy has a high IQ, but people are still accustomed to calling him a silly roe deer. He is so curious that he can kill himself. End of this chapter.